Hello everybody. Today in this video I'm going to share us a few paragraphs to analyze. Let's start. You are not your mind. The greatest obstacle to enlightenment. What is enlightenment? A beggar had been sitting by the side of a road for over 30 years. One day a stranger walked by, spared some change, mumbled the beggar mechanically, holding out his old baseball cap. I have nothing to give you, said the stranger. Then he asked, what that are you sitting on? Nothing, replied the beggar. Just an old box. I have been sitting on it for as long as I can remember. Ever looked inside? Asked the stranger. No, said the beggar. What's the point? There's nothing in there. Have a look inside instead, the stranger. The beggar managed to pry open the lid with astonishment, disbelief, and elation. He saw that the box was filled with gold. I am the stranger who has nothing to give you and who is telling you look inside. Not inside any box, as in the parable, but somewhere even closer, inside yourself. But I am not a beggar, I can hear you say. Those who have not found their true wealth, which is radiant joy of being in the deep, unshakable peace that comes with it, are beggars even if they have great material wealth. They are looking outside for scrap or pleasure or fulfillment, for validation, security, or love, while they have a treasure within that not only includes all those things but infinitely greater than anything the world can offer. The word enlightenment conjures up the idea of some superhuman accomplishment, and the ego likes to keep it that way. But it's simple your natural state of felt oneness with being. It is a state of connectedness with something immeasurable and indestructible, something that almost paradoxically is essentially a you, yet is much greater than you. It is finding your true natural beyond name and form. The inability to feel his connectedness gives rise to the illusion of separation from yourself and from the world around you. You then perceive yourself, consciously and unconsciously, as an isolated fragment. Fear arises and conflict within and without becomes the norm. I love the Buddha's simple definition of enlightenment as the end of suffering. There is nothing superhuman in that, is there? Of course, as a definition, it is incomplete. It only tells you that enlightenment is not suffering. But what's left when there is no more suffering? The Buddha is silent on that, and his silence implies that you will have to find out for yourself. He uses a negative definition so that mind cannot make it into something to believe in or into a superhuman accomplishment, a goal that is impossible for you to attain. Despite this precaution, the majority of Buddhists still believe that enlightenment is for the Buddha, not for them, at least not in this lifetime. you used the word being. Can you explain what you mean by that? Being is the eternal, ever present, one life beyond the myriad form of life that are subject to birth and death. However, being is not only beyond but also deep within every form as its immeasurable, invisible, and indestructible sense. This means that it is accessible to as your own deepest self, your true nature, but don't seek to grasp it with your mind. Don't try to understand it. You can know it only when the mind is still. When you are present, when your attention is fully and intensely in the now, pain can be felt, but it can never be understood mentally. To regain awareness of being and to abide in that state of feeling realization is enlightenment. When you say being, are you talking about God? If you are, then why don't you say it? The word God has become empty of meaning through thousands of years of misuse. I use it sometimes, but I do so sparingly. By misuse, I mean that people who have never even glimpsed the realm of the sacred, the infinity vastness behind that word, used with great conviction, and as if they knew what they are talking about, or they argue against it, as if they knew what is that they are denying. This misuse gives rise to absurd beliefs, assertion, and egoic delusions, such as my or God is the only true God, and your God is false, or Nietzsche's famous statement, God is dead. The word God has become a closed concept. The moment the word is uttered, a mental image is created, no longer perhaps of an old man with a white beard, but still a mental representation of someone or something outside you, and yes, almost inevitably a male someone or something. Neither God nor being nor any other word can define or explain the ineffable reality behind the world. So the only important question is whether the word is a help or a hindrance in enable your experience that toward which it points. Does it point beyond itself to that transcendental reality? Or does it lend itself too easily to becoming no more than an idea in your head that you believe in? A mental idol? The word being explains nothing but nor does God. Being, however, has the advantage that it's an open concept. It does not reduce the indivisible to a finite entity. It is impossible to form a mental image with it. Nobody can claim exclusive possession of being. It is your very sense, and it is immediately accessible to you as the feeling of your own presence. The realization I am that is prior to am or this or am that. So it is only a small step from the word being to experience of being. What is the greatest obstacle to experiencing this reality? Identification with your mind, which causes thoughts to become compulsive. Not to be able to stop thinking is a dreadful affliction, but we don't realize this because almost everybody is suffering from it. So it is considered normal. This incessant mental noise prevents you from finding that realm of inner stillness that is inseparable from being. It also creates a false mind-made self that casts a shadow of fear and suffering. We will add that in more detail later. The philosopher Descartes believed that he had found the most fundamental truth when he made his famous statement, "I think, therefore I am." He had in fact given expression to the most basic error, to equate thinking with being and identity with thinking. The compulsive thinker, which means almost everyone lives in a state of apparent separateness, in an insanely complex world of continuous problems and conflict, a world that reflects the ever increased fragmentation of the mind. Enlightenment is a state of wholeness of being at one, and therefore at peace. At one with life is its manifested aspect, the world as well as with your best self. And life unmanifested. At one with being, enlightenment is not only the end of suffering and of continuous conflict with and without, but also the end of the dreadful enslavement to incessant thinking. What an incredible liberation this is! Identification with your mind creates an opaque screen of concepts, labels, images, words, judgments, and definitions that blocks all true relationships. It comes between you and yourself, between you and your fellow man and woman, between you and nature, between you and God. It is this screen of thought that creates the illusion of secretness, the illusion that there is you and totally separate other. You then forget the essential fact that underneath the level of physical appearances and separate forms, you are one with all that is. By forget, I mean that you can no longer feel this oneness as a self-evident reality. You may believe it to be true, but you no longer know it to be true. A belief may be comforting only through your own experience, however does it become liberated. Okay guys, that is all, and thank you for watching. Bye bye.